Number 4?
Yeah, I guess it is.
Something like that. Let's see if the stream works. Should be coming online now.
So can people hear me fine now? I guess.
Number 4?
Is that about? Yeah, I guess it is.
Oh, snap. Something like that. Yeah, I can hear you on stream.
That's very loud, yeah. I could hear that.
Let's see if the stream works. Should be coming online now.
So can people hear me fine now? I guess. Yeah, I guess it is. Very loud. I could hear that. So can people hear me fine now? Yeah, I guess it is.
Okay, so I should be able to hear everything loud and clear.
There, is this fun then? Is that a decent volume? Or are you stop stream? Oh, we're breaking up. That's very breaky up.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's. Yeah, that's because it was transitioning over. It seems to be working better now.
Okay.
We'll give it a couple seconds to see if the stream is stabilized, and then we'll carry on.
Is this fine then? Let's just do a quick test of volume one last time.
Okay.
Is this fine then? Let's just do a quick test. Okay, I've been told it's fine.
Okay.
So. I've been told it's fine. Oh, that's gone up. Oh.
Well, then
let's just go with it. If I'm too loud, we can edit it or whatever.
Welcome back to Intothemists, episode 7. This is a continuation of the Elementalist in World vs. World video that I posted previously. Oh no.
Let's just go with it. If I'm too loud, we can edit it or whatever.
Yeah, if it's too loud, they can turn down the speakers. They can turn down the volume. So. Let me go ahead and mute this video down here. And yeah, so this is a continuation of the video I made previously, episode 6, which was Elementalists in World vs. World. And Little Lootbag gave a couple comments, some feedback on the video on items that it was lacking. So I invited Little Lootbag to come here and give us some advanced Elementalist knowledge that he's gotten in his years in Guild Wars 2. So, Little Lootbag, can you please tell us a little bit more about yourself, and then we'll dig into the subject.
So, I currently main Elementalist for VCY Velocity on Europe. We play with... Is that completely gone?
Great. Can you hear me?
Can you hear me?
Come on, tell me you didn't mute.
I can hear me.
Okay, now I can hear you.
You can only hear me through the stream, so there's a delay on it, I believe.
Yeah. Okay, I fixed it.
So you can hear me fine right now?
Yes, I can.
Okay. Continue or?
Alright, so, Little Lootbag, please tell us a little bit about yourself.
I play Elementalist for Velocity on Europe at the moment. We are, I'd say, tier 1, tier 2 guild on Europe. There's guilds better than us and there's guilds worse than us. I've played a bit of every profession. I understand the mechanics of Zergs. I've commanded a fair bit in my time, and I generally see how fights are going to pan out as it goes on. I'm a rank, I think, almost 2000 now on my main. Yeah, so I've got a lot of experience on Elementalists, and I hope to impart some knowledge on us.
Excellent. Well, I'm grateful to have you on the show. Thank you for doing this. We've had some technical difficulties with getting the software to work properly. But to pick up where we left off, in the last video we covered mainly how to handle and avoid getting stunned and destroyed by the hammer train. And there were some skills in particular that you found were not clearly explained, some skills and tricks to be able to be an Elementalist that's effective that weren't totally covered. So we can pick up where we left off.
Okay, so if I take, let's break break it down one by skill at a time. So if we take Burning Retreat on the fire, so if I do this in front of you, it's just a standard dodge back. It's equivalent to about 2.5 dodge rolls straight backwards. It's a very, very good skill to use. It's only a 20-second cooldown, so it's quite spammable. Really nice, like, escape skill. You can use it from escaping like harasser trains, escaping melee trains, moving to your Zerg for regroups. It's just a very versatile skill to be using in World v World. A good use for it is if you get immobilized and you use it, you remain on the spot while the immobilize is on you, obviously, but you keep evading. So it's like you've dodged while in immobilize, which you obviously can't normally do in the game. But this allows you to negate harasser bombs. So if harassers generally lead with immobilize in the current meta, if you can negate their damage, you can very easily survive. They generally do a really high spike damage at the start and expect you to go down. If you don't go down, there's very little follow-up. So you can often completely negate harassers just by using one skill, which is on your standard rotation normally.
Very nice. Yeah, that's a trick I never really considered before. What happens, like, after you burn through that? Before we go into that, though, I just want to re-go over the traits. So essentially, are you advocating still the standard 2 Earth, 6 Water, 6 Arcane?
I switched up a bit. The 6 Water, 6 Arcane is set, basically. Most builds use that. The last 2 points are a bit debatable. You can go for Air Magic, which is what I personally do, and I go for VI, Bolt to the Heart. So you get a bit of extra spike damage when people get low. You get a nice 20% boost as they start to drop below, so on your meteor showers you can go really nice spike.
That is nice. That is nice. And for the people that are not as confident in their ability to survive, going into Earth with Earth's Embrace would definitely be a good way to hold them over for the meantime. Alright, so we've got the utility skills covered. We've got the your elite, you've got your traits. Now when it comes to combat, let's say you're getting hit by your harassing force. Say if you're in a large team fight of say 15, maybe more, and you get focused by a thief and a warrior, a hammer warrior. What are you going to do?
So let's say for the purpose of this, you're the commander and you're stood over here. Let's say, and this mesmer is, this elementalist, whatever it is the harassers that are going to hit me, and I'm stood right here. So they're coming in from the right side, you're on the left, which is typical positioning. If you can see them coming, a very nice block is unsteady ground. If they come in, and they'll hit it, and they'll just bash up against it and won't do anything. They don't often have stability, occasionally they will do, but harassers often run very stability light because they don't move through much CC. After you've burnt through that, or if you don't see it coming, you then use Burning Retreat, so I would do it over like this way. To escape, moving myself towards you. Obviously you'd be engaging other melee trains at this point, so I obviously don't want to move to you because I would take a lot of spike damage from the enemy melee, but if I move over to here, I've made a lot of distance between them. Unsteady ground might still be stunning them at this point, and most harassers would then change target. If they don't, and I happen to go down from one of their bombs, I'm well within commander, so I can I've got like a 2.5 second vapor form get over to you before I go down over here, and I can get a res or a banner. So it's just about keeping awareness of what's around you, what's going to hit you, and where you've positioned and the distances you are from other things.
Gotcha. So as long as you break away from the fight and get a decently away across inside of a Zerg fight, you can just lose aggro essentially. Yeah.
What you do want to avoid. So let's say like the harassers over there, I don't want to do this and go really far away from both the commander and the harassers, because if I go down out here from whatever damage, I'm never going to get a banner, never going to get a res, and my like ranged attacks reached about there, where that ring is now, which like your fight's going on the other side of the rock, it's not going to hit. So you need to really watch your positioning. You're very, very squishy. You can get bursted in a couple of seconds, like even under a second. I've got videos of me dying in a second on some GVGs. It's really crucial you position yourself correctly. If you go too far away, you're bait, because if they hit you over there, you're never going to get a res, and if you go too close, you're going to get hit by the bomb. So you have to keep the sweet spot in the middle, which is about here if you're the commander.
Yeah, that's an excellent point. A lot of people make that mistake. Just basically the stragglers, the ones that are overextended, are the ones who gets picked off the most easy. And for Elementalists, it's ultra easy. Let's see. You mentioned something before about your water skill, Frozen Ground. So tell the audience a little bit about that.
Frozen Ground is this skill right here. It's very potent at a few things in Word. So it's on a 40-second cooldown, and for those unfamiliar, it creates a combo field of ice on the floor, or some guilds would refer to it as a chill field. Anyone that walks in it is chilled for 2 seconds, which is very strong as it is. Not only does it reduce their movement speed, but cutting off some of their recharges really screws with their rotations on some classes. The main use for it that I find is if you drop it, so let's say you're the commander, and we're moving this way. If I wait for it to come off cooldown 5 seconds, so we're moving towards middle point, I just stand here. So we're going in, we start buffing up, moving in 3, 2, 1, we move in. As we get ready to push in, we drop this forward. The melee train leap through it, move on to the other side, and when the leap triggers with the ice field, everyone gets Frost Aura, which is a 10% damage reduction, which is very strong as it is, and then whenever they get attacked, they apply chill to the person attacking, which, if everyone in your melee train has got that, that's a lot of chill that's going on. It's a lot of conditions they have to cure, movement speed's going to be reduced, so they're just going to take more damage from you while doing less damage to you because of the aura. Some commanders also like to use it on a disengage, so as they're pulling away. I do prefer a big water field when I play, so you drop this and everyone can blast it, but some commanders may call for it on a disengage, so you do that as you run away, everyone can take the aura, and when they get hit on the disengaged, they're going to apply shield to people hitting.
Oh, that's brilliant. I like that. Either way, it's going to be effective at slowing down and disrupting the enemy team. That's some good stuff that most people don't know. Let's see. Can you tell us something else that a lot of people don't know? I've seen a lot of static fields get used just poorly. Poorly placed static fields and poorly used. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yep. So let's say I'm moving to static U in this example. So I'm coming from the middle here. I move into static U. I first of all click on a member in the train for this example. So I would click on you. I see you've got no stability on your bar. So what's running through my head is they're susceptible to CC. I can get a static, I can get an unsteady ground, and they're going to get hit by it. So in this example, I drop a static as you move, and then you'd maybe get like 5 or 6 people caught in the direction of movement around the edge here. A really nice follow-up after that is unsteady ground. Some guys will pop stability, but some classes like Necromancer haven't got that stun break on their bar, so if they don't have the stability, they're going to hit the unsteady ground, and then there's going to be a massive tail compared to their commander, and they'll be very susceptible for ranged. Times when you don't want to pop it is when you click on someone and they have stability. That's immediate nope, you never use the skill. It's not going to do anything, and if they have got stability up, the Guardian stability is also comes with retaliation, so your statics going to do a very small amount of damage to them, but the retail ticks on you are going to be you're going to be down half health if you do it to a 50-man group. The other thing you can use with statics is you can be quite selfish with them as the fight goes on, or you can be really selfless. So if you see a Zerg pulling off for a regroup, typically on regroups, more in Europe than America, we don't throw stability, we sort of walk away, and you're likely to get hit by CC. If you drop a static, you can very typically catch melee trains as they're running away. And the same thing like earlier, if you're being focused, you can drop it on yourself like this, and so any harassers incoming to you are going to get stunned by it, and as they have no stun breaks, or they haven't got effective stun breaks on all the harassers, they're going to get hit for the 2 seconds and allow you to get some serious distance between them.
Yeah, that's definitely a good idea. Let's see, you mentioned before Lightning Surge, Air Staff number 2.
Yes.
I've actually ignored this skill almost entirely, just because of the long cast time. So
it's got a nice 1.5 second channel, so it's a pretty hefty skill to use. It's got to be on your main rotation if you're going to get it out right. The tooltip's slightly unclear, but you pick a guy. So if we pick this Elementalist here, and I use it on him, he gets blindness on him, I think for 5 seconds, yeah, for 5 seconds, and 4 guys around him are going to get blindness on him as well. So he's going to be doing less damage overall. So if you go in and they're leaping in, like we discussed with the Frost Aura, if you can get the blind on them, then their first hit is going to miss completely. So if you do that to Guardians especially, the Guardian leap is a blind when it connects. So if you can stop them from blinding your melee, you're going to increase your damage twofold. First by missing their damage, and by not getting hit by the blind on you. So if we do it again here, I think you should both get hit. You need to stand a bit closer, 10 seconds. So it's, I don't know, it's a very nice skill to be using for melee. There we go, you both got hit by blind. It's a good skill to be using it on engages as they leap in. It's also a very good skill for dodging harassers. So if you see, like, let's say you two are harassers and I see you like buffing up stealth or whatever over there, I can target one of you, like channel the skill and pop it, and then when you come in to do some damage to me and like burst my health down, your first hit's gonna miss, and that's typically the harasser's big spike. So if you're on a thief and you're coming out of stealth, that then negates your first like 9k backstab or whatever you're doing.
Nice. Very nice. And the nice thing about channeling skills is even if somebody goes stealth, the channel will continue on and it will not miss, regardless of the fact that they are invisible. It's the same thing with like your ranger's barrage attack, where they just shoot it in straight arrows at you. Like, was it 8 shots, 9 shots?
Yeah, I think it's 8.
Yeah, so basically all 8 arrows will hit as long as the thief doesn't dodge it or just juke out of it if they're long enough distance. So that's that is one nice thing about the channeling of skills. Let's see. Going through the skills real quick. Anything else that really needs to be emphasized? Is there anything special about Ice Spike that should be aware of? Gust?
If we touch on Ice Spike first, this skill is, for higher group play, is a very strong skill. If you get, like, typical guilds run 3 or 4 LAs in parties for raids, maybe a 5th. If you get 3 or 4 of these dropped on one spot, you get, if let's say we take 4, you get 20 stacks of vulnerability on whoever you hit. So that's a good 20% damage increase. Your Ice Spike, when it collides, is doing a fairly decent chunk of damage. It's does about the damage of 2 fireballs from your auto attack, just from the skill alone, before you account for all the damage boosters on it. So if you can get a group of LEs to pop these in one location, on harassers for instance, you will get them spiked down very quickly. So if I stand here and you can use it on me, it's a very low cooldown and the channel is fairly short, but you can see like that one didn't really do much, but as you start chaining them to me, if like each one is very cumulative on damage, so it gets like 5 stacks of mobility, 10 stacks, and that's applied before the damage is applied, so you are getting the full 20 stacks on the 4th one. Nice.
And on top of that, it's a pretty hefty duration for the vulnerability itself. 10 seconds?
Yeah, so it's not just like a one-off thing to have, it does actually last when they go in to hit you.
Yeah, that's definitely useful. And it goes well with your other types of attacks. Let's see, eruption, that one's kind of pretty well obvious the way it works out. Just a nice long...
There's a nice trick with eruption for the higher play. So if we are stacked before a fight and you've got 3 or 4 elementalists in the group, you throw eruption to the side of your regroups, so like this, and then you drop a fire field on it. Just one elementalist has the fire, all of them do the eruption. That means as you push in, because of the way boon sharing works, all your elementalists are going to have, if we take 4 elementalists again as the example, they're going to have the 12 stacks of might on the engage, which is a lot of damage. Like that increases their damage by a fair chunk. And if you're running strength runes and battle sigils, you're going to have 25 might stacks on the first meteor showers.
Oh yeah, that's
massive.
Nice. That's gonna be real nice. Now, say if you're getting ready to run into a large fight, say you've got yourself a 25-man team, I've got myself a 25-man team, we're charging straight towards each other. Say I've got the gate to your keep down, and we're getting ready to push in, and you want to stop us before we can go in and clear your siege out. Say if we're charging in right now.
Okay. So I'd position myself here if I was a commander, and I'd see you coming in. So for an elementalist, I would first of all stay with the commander until they come in, so they don't know it's like an engage. And then, like I said earlier, you burning retreat. create a lot of distance between the two. So at this point here, you're a good way away from your melee, but not too far, so you've still got the vapor form if you go down. You can see the melee training coming very well from the enemy, so you can see them in the choke where they're going to move, what the commander's thinking. But the good thing about this is their ranged at this point is positioned quite a bit behind you. They won't be pushing with the melee, so you're also not in range direct fire at this current time as the push is in. Then obviously check for static field again, and then in this example I'd pedal to the right. You'd go in to the right and engage the melee train, and then again I've created a lot of distance from myself and the melee from the that's incoming, dodging a lot of the damage just by moving around. This is when the ranged group would start pushing through the choke. So I need to move. So I would either blink behind us like that, creating like a physical barrier between the two, and people without blinks wouldn't be able to follow me up there easily. Or if I was back down here again, I would maybe consider going out through the choke and then bombing from them from the outside, because they're all thinking about let's push in, let's push in. So if you're behind them, they're not going to think about let's hit him, because most people don't bind their look behind key on the camera, so they've got no way of seeing what's behind them, what's casting on them freely. So it's you have to keep a relatively decent uptime on the line of sight with commander, because otherwise you can't drop the water field like that. So if I was like over here, I wouldn't be able to see the commander, wouldn't be able to drop a water field, so this wouldn't work. But if I'm over like here, for example, I can see right around the corner, get water fields down, and still assist with the commander without getting in too much direct damage.
Yeah. Now, how would you actually when would you start using your heavy combinations? Would you start out with like your air for static, or would you start with fire to start the fight? Because I've seen some people that'll start out the fight, first thing they do, static field, and then swap over to fire and begin their meteor shower tornado.
That's not typically how I run it. I break fights down into 3 pushes, which then go on loop. So you've got the first push. This is where everyone's together, everyone's compact, and they've got really nice stability uptime, really nice protection uptime, regen. They've got everything. This is when all your like high value skills like banner are off cooldown. So if anyone you down is, it's nice that you down them, but they're going to be able to get back up quite quickly.
Yes.
Then you've got like they pull off for a regroup and they go in for the second push. Now the second push is when stability on some groups will be lacking a bit, less in guild groups, but this is when their like other boons start to run out. So this is when they're susceptible to boon strip. Well, Ellie hasn't got any, but this is when you pop it. If you strip the boons, then they're sitting ducks, and that's when your static fields can really punish them. So if you've got really good boon strip, static fields on the second push is really nice. Then you've got they pull off again, and third push stability is generally like lacking on more people, but the commander's group and the commander like tight group on him, like more than the 5 guys, like maybe 10-15 guys on the commander, they're going to have really nice stability. Everyone else is going to be a bit tailing and a bit lacking. This is when unsteady ground and statics really come into their own, because you're not relying on anyone else, and that's when you really punish them. So as for initial engages of fights, I generally aim to have at least 3 elementalists in whatever game mode we're playing, so GVGs or open world or whatever. One of them I would start in water attunement. They're there to get the frozen ground down, and then the first couple of waters, like maybe the first water, maybe the first 2, depending on how the fight plays out. And they sit in water attunement until the first water is dropped, and they're spamming the ice spike throughout the whole thing. So they're not just sat there wasting it, they're actually trying to do some active damage, get some vulnerability stacks going, as well as giving the chill foot on the engage, obviously giving the 10% damage we discussed earlier.
Alright, now do you wait for the commander to call for water, or do you just announce water and then spray it?
So again, in water attunement there's 2 waters, you got the big one and the small one. The frost field, the way I play it is frost field goes down, commander leaps through it, and then he's doing some damage over here. You get a very big cluster of light fields and like fire fields or whatever's going down over here, and you get the necro wells. Typically the fight will then move off to the side, so it'll go over here. This is where I would drop a big water field. Either the commander's now going to pull off, or he's going to get back in again. Either way, the area is clear of any fields on the ground. Blasting would be efficient, and you can actually get the blasts off, as opposed to blasting like a light field and getting retaliation.
Yeah.
Small water fields I reserve solely for commanders calling them. So they're not big enough and they don't last long enough that like if you call it, people are going to have the time to blast it. It doesn't register quick enough for them because the water field only lasts for a very short duration. So I tend to reserve them for regroups, and with the only 20-second cooldown, you can very easily match what the commander's saying with just 2 elementalists.
Gotcha.
So if you reserve the big water fields for like when you think they should be dropped, and keep the small ones for when commander calls for them, you'll find you'll have no problems with water fields.
Excellent.
Should I move on to the second elementalist and how I play that?
Please.
Okay. So the first elementalist is starting in water, the second one would start in air. The second one makes a value judgment whether they pop static field or not, depending on stability, depending on if they know you're coming. This one is generally a bit more aggressive in the play. They might be out in front. So again, if you're pushing through this choke, like right now and you were inside, I'd push to about here. So I'd be right up in your face on the melee train. I'd get the static off, and then I'd be blinking behind you like this. Then I'd completely dodge your melee train, and I'm inside your casters, like maybe just behind them. All your casters are currently looking to aid you, is the way most people play it. So you're currently out of harm's way over here. All the casters are looking forwards, and you're right behind them. Really nice position to start opening some damage up on the backline. If you can get the backline damaged and they miss a water on the first push, then they might lose the fight on the first push. So this is like your really strong, really like aggressive elementalist. If they, for some reason, they have stability or the static isn't going to get pop or whatever, they can't position it right. Then you just transform into lightning surge, and you get the blinds off. You aim for the commander. If you can get the blind off on the commander, they're typically a guardian, and you get the like obviously the double whammy with the like they miss their leap, so their blind on their leap doesn't proc, so you get more damage on them, and obviously the damage from the leap doesn't proc. So if you can get all of the commander's group to do no damage at all, it's really effective, because the commander on the first push is going to see no damage for the first like half a second until the tail catches up.
So really early on in the fights, your major focus is not necessarily to get the damage down. You're there to support the team, right?
Yeah. In the first like push of a fight, you aren't really there to deal the damage. You're obviously doing your low cooldown skills like Lava Font. Lava Font's one that you really do spam. So after you do your initial engage, then you move to Lava Font. You do start doing fireballs. I would reserve meteor showers, but like anything like eruption or unsteady ground or even shockwave for the immobilize, that's all viable in the first push. But reserve your like higher cooldown skills like your meteor showers, your tornadoes. And if you can, try and keep your mist form away from the first push. Like the first push is just an exchange to see if there's any obviously stronger side. If there's not an obviously stronger side, that's when the damage is really going to need to be there, and the commander's like trying to gauge how much damage you're doing. So in the first push, if you just leave your melee train to do some damage and your necromancers, and you're doing a normal amount but not doing any spikes, then that's fine. They'll pull off and they'll push back in again, and that if you spike them on the second push, that's when they really start to panic, because they don't have their cooldowns. They've obviously blown them all in the first push, trying to get out of your immobilize or whatever. So if you can catch them when there's no cooldowns and their banners are starting to drop, like that's when you need to really spike them.
Gotcha.
Just really punish them when they're down, basically.
Very nice. That's brilliant. That's brilliant. Let's see. What else would you like to? What else would you push into with? And as an element, what other skills and tricks would you recommend that people really learn?
The one trick which I don't see many elementalists using, at least on Europe, is Gust. Now Gust used to have a bit more functionality. They sort of changed it around a bit. Now gets you in combat when it's used, so some of the old effects aren't viable anymore. But let's say you're getting stomped, like you're stomping someone from my server right now. I will check your bar, see if you have stability, much like I do with the static field, and then I'll aim the Gust at you. That will interrupt your stomp, as well as keeping my guy alive for a bit longer, and anyone behind you will also get the knockback. So it's a very strong skill for both interrupting stomps and also for use on their regroup. So if they've pulled off on their regrouping and they go for an empower, they're typically not looking to use their stability on the empowers. They're trying to save it for when they first push. So all the guardians are sort of asleep with their stability. So if you can get them while they're empowering and interrupt that with a gust, and you can catch 2 or 3 guardians, that's really, really nice. Because then they miss their altruistic healing, they miss their empower heal, they don't have the might on the engage, and they're off of tag. So it's a really nice, effective skill. As for other skills, which I don't see people using correctly, Magnetic Aura on Earth Attunement, reflect projectiles with magnetic energy, is one of the skills which is underused in the correct way, in my opinion. So if you're like an Elementalist and you're hitting me right now, I wouldn't be popping this skill. I'm full health. My regen's like very close to mitigating your damage. It's not doing masses to me. The time when you want to use this skill is if you're getting harassed by a ranger using longbow. It's a very good counter to that. I've actually killed rangers just by popping one skill because of this. It's also very good for countering like necromancers. Necromancers, at least on the higher end of guilds, they like to pick up one individual player and hit them with staff 1, and you'll have 4 necros bombing on them, and they'll get them down very quickly. Each staff 1 hit is doing like 2, maybe 3k, so their health is starting to drop very quickly. If you can get some of them back at the necromancers, they're going to start feeling the damage, and they're going to move away from you pretty quick.
Nice.
The other like very sneaky use for this skill, which most people don't know, is if you're stomping a warrior and you pop Magnetic Aura, if they go for an interrupt, it gets bounced back in their face, so you can finish the stomp very easily without blowing your stability or your mist form.
Nice. I do like that. I do like that. It works well, just like the guardians, using your F1 to blind somebody before you stomp them.
Yes, very nice synergy there.
Yeah, it's wonderful. Let's see, what other skills would you like recommend, or do you see as getting used poorly?
I think mist form is one of the big ones. People seem to pop mist form either too late or too early. So if I'm getting some really big damage on me, for instance, I need to pop mist form as soon as I think I'm going to die. So there's no like waiting to get to like 2k. If there's like a Sharknado or whatever, like a Meteor Shower Tornado, whatever it is, hitting me, and my health really starting to drop, I pop it now before I get below 50% if I can avoid it. So that gives you some really nice buffer health, because the conditions on you when you go into mist form are still going to be ticking. So if you can get into mist form with a good bit of buffer health left, even with a Condi build, they're not going to be able to kill you very easily. It also gives you, when you come out of it, it gives them Feaths. They have to 2-hit you instead of 1-hit you. So even if they're following you through mist form, it gives you a very little like snapshot when you come out of it of about a second, where you can burning retreat away or pop a heal or get out of the situation. Most Elementalists, like if you do the same pressure again, they'd be popping it the second they could take any form of damage. They'd be popping it now, which I believe is a complete waste. You don't even know if that's going to be any real damage. Like they'd be popping it, and then some Elementalists be popping it like even lower than this. They seem to pop it like right now when they're on like 1k, 2k health, which if you've got conditions on you over the 3 seconds of mist form, they're going to kill you. So it's not really worth it. Thing to note while in mist form, if you're running Evasive Arcana and you're running, what is it? Let me have a look. Elemental Attunement, and you switch into Water Attunement, and you dodge, you get a heal off while in mist form. You get the regen from the Water Attunement still applies, so you're still curing conditions. They're the things that are going to be taking on you. They're the only source of damage while in mist form. And you get the heal from attuning to water. Evasive Arcana is a very potent trait, and especially when combined with Mistform, it allows you to get maybe a 5k heal off while in Mistform with the dodge with the water attune. So over time, if you sort of learn these little tricks with Mistform and what Evasive Arcana can synergize with, you can also like blast waterfields with it if you do it in Earth Attunement. So it's a very effective way of healing while not being able to use any skills.
Yeah, that's right. I do like the fact that your dodges cast a spell based on your attunement, but each attunement cooldown is independent of the other.
Yes. So a trick some people don't know as well. So if you look at me now, I'm in Earth attunement. If I dodge and switch to water mid dodge, I get the blast finisher of water. So although I began in Earth attunement, it's the attunement you finish in that gives you the effect at the end of Evasive Arcana.
Yeah. So basically, say if I'm a staff elementalist and I got a lot of condies bombed on me all at once, and I'm getting really low on health. Say if I'm in I'm in fire attunement. We're fighting. I'm getting low on health, and I've got a lot of condies on me. What I can do to really spam clear condies and get my health back up quickly is, say I dodge roll, get into water, get my water dodge up, my water attunement, give me some regen, switch over to earth, dodge again, blast some water. I can even do staff 2, and if I cast a staff 2 quickly enough after using my big water, that one will get a blast as well. So I could get 2 blasts on my water field, as well as all the other condi clears and water heals that I just got.
The one people don't know about as well, when you dodge in water, as well as giving you some health, that's also a condi clear. So that's going to remove one condition of you and 4 other guys around you.
Yeah.
So it's very good for getting people unstuck.
Yeah, so basically you cure 1 for just swapping to water attunement, you cure 2 for getting healing rain, you get a 4th from just dodging your water, and if you really need to, you can blow one of your cantrips, say like lightning flash or armor of earth, if you're in a really bad situation and you've cleared yourself of a 5th one.
If you're using Ether Renewal as your heal as well, it's slow cooldown. That's a very nice. That cures 8 conditions over the very 3.5 second channel.
Yeah.
So that's a very nice way of mitigating a lot of condi damage if you're getting bombed.
That is really nice. This build, because of the amount of ways of applying regeneration, combined with Ether Renewals, makes conditions almost completely insignificant unless you can get a solid spike.
The one you have to watch out for is if they apply long-term chilled or long-term regen. So if let's say you drop a chill field on me, like this, and I stand in it for the whole duration, that's a lot of chilled on me, and that's going to really wreck some of my cooldowns. So I need to cleanse that as quick as possible. So let's say I'm playing against you, and I do the same thing to you. So I drop a shield on you. I then go into Earth, and I try and get some condies up on you. So if you do try and cleanse the shield, you're going to be cleansing those conditions first, and the shield's still going to remain on you. That's how you really make use of your chill field.
Nice.
You make sure you put on a quote-unquote buffer condition, so when they cleanse, they're not cleansing your shield, which is the one you want on them.
Yeah, because when you cure a condition, you cure the most recent one applied.
Yep.
Cool. That's very important to know, especially when you've got, say, like bleed rangers. They just spam tons of bleed. I can cure that bleed just as fast. But if they can start applying other things that'll cover the bleeds, it'll make it very difficult for me to remove all those conditions. Especially, say, if you caught me with that chill field when I had used both my dodges and I still don't have the energy to get back up again. Now, I've got a curiosity. You may know the answer to this one, you may not. But the Rune of the Warrior, it reduces...
It doesn't.
No, damn. I figured you'd know that. But anyway, I was hoping, but... No,
it doesn't. I would run Rune of Strength personally on Elementalists for the might duration. But no, you're talking about Rune of the Warrior, reducing your attunement, swapping cooldown. That doesn't work.
That would be so nice. Oh, but that was
the final skill I haven't touched on that we probably should mention is Windborne Speed, number 4 on the staff air. If you hover over the skill and actually read its description rather than just looking at its radius and number of targets, it cures crippled, immobilized, and chilled. And most elementalists, because they don't see it in the actual tooltip, and they don't bother reading the description, they don't know that that's actually a condi cure. So if you see a necromancer or some of your melee train, or even yourself getting hit by immobilize, or you're getting hit by the chilled and you're getting hit by the crippled, you can just prop number 4 and walk straight out of it. I popped it a bit early there, I wasn't expecting the immobilize, but but you can just walk straight out of it. It cures everyone around you. So it's, as well as being a skill you should be using out of combat to give everyone around you swiftness, it's a very good one to also be using in combat to be dodging some of that incoming fire, because it removes all three of them, so you can very easily get out of being stun locked by conditions.
Yeah, a lot of elementalists, they just try and spam buttons, just press buttons, just try and hit as much as they can,
Yep.
try and throw as much out as they can, and hopefully you'll die before they die.
Yep.
What would you recommend for elementalists that are still newer, still not quite fully confident in their abilities, and they're just throwing out, okay, I've got this spell that's not on cooldown, I'm going to throw this spell, it's not on cooldown, alright, there's that spell, there's this one, and all that good stuff. How would you recommend that they break that habit? How would you teach somebody to be focused and not use their skills? Like, say, we're in the middle of a fight, we're fighting, I've got Windborne Speed available right now, but how would you teach them not to use it right now?
So first of all, let's say we're in air attunement in the Windspawn Speed example. You have to think what the skill does in your head. So you picture the skill and you're thinking, so it cures all these conditions which is like stunning people, and it gives swiftness. So you discard the swiftness, that's not going to be needed in the fight, people have already got it. So you're looking at solely for the condition cure. So unless people around you are being hit by these conditions, then you that's when you pop it. If they're not, that's when you just leave it and you move on. So you just have to think what's the prerequisite for use of the skill. So for static, you have to check on them if they've got stability. If they've got stability, you're just going to kill yourself by using it because of the retaliation. Same thing with Gust. Lightning Surge, you have to read their movement. So in air attunement, you have to be looking, are they going to be going in for a spike? If you waste Lightning Surge when they're doing meaningless like number 1 spam, it's sort of wasted. You have to be thinking, are they going to go for a spike in half a second's time? That's when you pop it, then mid-leap, it collides with them, and then they still get the blindness on them.
Yeah.
If we hop over to Earth Attunement, so Eruption, you think, Eruption's a special one, because you can be used in so many different circumstances. You think, are you going to be setting up any combos soon? Are you going to be going for a fire combo? Are you going to go for a water combo? And you sort of have to keep it logged in your head. It's a very good buffer condition as well. People don't expect it. You can drop Eruption before you drop any conditions, so you can drop Eruption, and then you can immobilize with Shockwave. That will stack the immobilize on them, and then the bleeding will apply on top. So you have to cleanse the bleeding before they immobilize, even though you pop the bleeding first. So it's you can use it with other attunements as well to stack it. So you could do Eruption and then a Chill Field. So Eruption and Chill Field would give you not only the frost armor, 10% damage reduction and chilled when they hit you, but it's also going to be getting the chilled, and then the buffer condition is going to be applied straight after. So they have a lot more to cleanse. Nice. So Magnetic Aura you reserve for if you're getting actually destroyed by projectiles. Don't blow it if you're only getting hit for a couple of K. Unsteady Ground you sort of reserve again if they haven't got stability or there's a harasser group on you, and Shockwave you reserve if you're getting either harasser groups on you or melee is coming towards you. If melee is coming towards you, that's when you pop it. You immobilize them as they come towards you, and it gives you maybe a half a second to get away. It doesn't get all of them, it's only going to get 5, but if that's the commander's group, then the commander's going to be pulled back, and most of the melee will actually stop with the commander. So although you've only immobilized 5 people, if you catch the commander, a lot of melee are actually going to stop on him. Gotcha. So you're basically catching the whole Zerg even though you only need 5.
Yeah. Would you recommend using Shockwave right as the Zergs are about to collide?
I find it's not worth it. Warriors, it's becoming less and less, but they run leg specialists, so movement skills, cure, immobilize. That sort of breaks the whole purpose of it. Hard CC is generally better in that instance, so you're running your static fields or your unsteady grounds or lines of warding on your guardians. You're really trying to interrupt them. You sort of reserve immobilize for if they're pulling off for a regroup or they're hitting you directly. If they're pulling off for a regroup and you can force them to tail, that's going to leave 3 or 4 guys without any boons on them or without any heals on them, so they're going to be really susceptible in the next push. And they're often going to be still tailing as they push into the next push, meaning your harassers can very easily pick them off. And if they're coming towards you, it buys you a little bit of time to escape. So I wouldn't use it on the melee trainers they're engaging, because you also see an abundance of warrior warhorn 4s which cure it, so it's not really something you should push on the first push or when the 2 trains collide. You're sort of trying to save it for when they pull off or when they hit you directly.
Gotcha. Alright, let's say we've covered all the staff. Is there anything else you wanted to add for staff before we went over to Dagger Dagger really quickly?
Let me think. The only thing is with Tornado, put number 2 on autocast when you go into it. Get some blind up on you, so if any harassers hit you or any melee come too close to you, you're going to get some blinds on them. It's just a very easy way of improving your play while in Tornado. It doesn't really do much else, but if you're getting some blinds off, then you're not going to get spiked while in Tornado, because if they strip your stability and stun you, you're going to die.
Alright, let me try something real quick. I just want to see how it... So if I press the Dust Tornado once, and does it continue to do it? Do I continue to apply blinds?
I believe it does.
It does,
but
it does. I just reapplied it again.
Yeah. If you put it on autocast and you pop Tornado again in that same lifespan, you won't need to like press it automatically again. So
cool. That's
even though like it's not needed to put it on autocast, but then you don't have to think about it next time you Tornado.
Gotcha. And the lightning, sure, it can hit a couple extra people. It doesn't really seem to do a whole lot of damage. What about the third? Was it like throw boulders or something? I didn't.
The knock back or knock down or whatever it is. Let me have a look.
I'm not totally impressed.
So they're the 3 skills. So the Debris one. So the Tornado you have to be really careful with, because it knocks people away from you. It's a very easy skill to screw up. So you don't want to be using Tornado and then move towards people who are downed. You're going to be pinballing them all over the place, and you're thinking in your head, oh, that's going to be good because they're not going to get the banners, or people aren't going to be able to res them. That's very, very bad, because if people are going in for stomps, or you're dropping AoE on them, or poison field, so banners aren't effective, you've just knocked them out all of your damage. They're not going to go, like, not going to get the stomp, it's not going to connect, whatever. So although you may be thinking knock back or knock down on downed is good, it's not really effective. Electrified, I don't think the damage is enough to warrant changing up from the blind spam. I think mitigating damage is more important when you haven't got any skills to burn through.
Yeah, makes sense.
A very sneaky thing to watch out for Tornado is when you pop it, you gain stability. When you come out of it, you lose all the stability on you, not just the stuff Tornado gives.
Damn.
So don't pop your Armor of Earth and then a second later pop your Tornado.
Oh.
It's not worth it.
Alright, I did notice that Magnetic Aura does remain on you when you go into it, though.
It does. It doesn't matter what state you go into. Same thing with Mist Form. So you can still use it if in Tornado.
Would you recommend it?
I don't know. Tornado doesn't generally bring a lot of pressure because most people don't know how to counter it. If it was ever changed so then like people actually learn to strip the stability and then spike you or CC you, then I would see it being appropriate, because you can often negate some of that damage from the ranged. But if you're in Tornado, your health increases, so Necromancers aren't likely to hit you. Starfellies are going to stay away from you because you're not a main target to them. So there's not much actual ranged physical projectiles going to hit you, and the Guardian Pools, which are the other projectiles you want to be dodging, they're not going to collide with you because you have stability. So it's not really something you should be using until people actually learn to counter Tornado, which is not very effective counter at the moment.
Yeah, I've noticed that I always get focused as soon as I go into Tornado. It's just like I bring everybody to me. I don't know, maybe you and I just have different experiences in different parts of the world. Because
just if you try and keep your Tornado relatively close to Commander, you can also dodge in Tornado to gain a bit of extra distance quicker. So if you're and it obviously doesn't it dodges the attacks as well, so you're not losing your health. So if you get focused, try and be in double dodge distance of the Commander, so you can double dodge into him, like mitigate some of the damage. And the blind spam does help a lot. It does. People do come to you, especially some of the lower skill players who don't quite know what the skill does, but they do come to you. But the blind spam, if that's actually proccing, they're not going to be doing a lot of damage to you, even though they're stood right on top of you, might have stability up. But the second the stability goes, they're going to get knocked down, knocked away.
Interesting. Well, the one thing I did just learn just now was I was throwing rocks at you even when you were outside of my ring range.
Yeah, it does throw over, but it's not really worth it because you can't control it.
Yeah, I didn't think so, but still, I was just amused by it.
Yep. Did you want me to go on to Dagger Dagger?
Oh, if you have time.
I have plenty of time. I need to go grab a dagger though, so if you can be
sure.
2 minutes. I just made the character, so I've only got a scepter.
Yeah, it's okay. I know how it is with having a spare account. Oh no, I'm dying.
Okay, I'm joining back in. Do you want me on the same team as you, or
it doesn't matter to me.
enemy? Okay, I'll go enemy team then.
Sounds good.
So, I'll say it now. I've played a lot of Dagger Dagger, like an awful lot of Dagger Dagger pre the really big balance patch, but since they sort of changed some of the skills around, I haven't had a chance to get back into it. So although I know what they all do, I don't know the most up-to-date combinations from all the skills. So I still get the old combos and how they work, but I haven't fully updated with everything else.
Copy that.
So there might be some things in this which are wrong or very slightly changed, but this is how I would play it. So what role would you like me to fill as Dagger Dagger, like in a harasser role?
What would you do if you were a Dagger Dagger inside a group of like anywhere from 10 to 20?
So there's really two roles they can fulfill. They can run either in the melee train, in the melee party, and be a aura share Dagger Dagger Elementalist. That's when you're really proccing your shocking aura and your frost aura. For the same reasons like the frost aura was used earlier, and the shocking aura is a really nice way of giving the party extra CC without them actually doing anything.
Yeah.
And because it's got no target cap, it's much like a static, but it can very easily stun the whole melee train if they haven't got stability. So the traits would be very similar. It'd be 0, 2, 0, 6, 6. Instead of taking cleansing water, you take powerful aura for the aura share.
Yeah.
You change around a couple other traits. You still keep the reduced cantrip cooldown in my opinion, but you swap out to cleansing wave on your second one. So because you lose the regen kills conditions, you swap it out to water attunement. So you have then the Condi clear on water attunement instead.
Yeah.
Because you obviously have to swap out the regen for the aura share.
Yeah.
Then you've got the harasser role. If you run harasser group, Dagger Dagger Elementalist, it's a bit more subjective. Harasser groups will ask you to run differently. The way I view the role is you're there to provide combo fields for the Thiefs and the Mesmers so they can actually get some might up. So you're there for the fire, so the fire field on Ring of Fire on number 4. The Thiefs can then spam blast it. You can have like very high might stacks from your blast. So when you're Thief and you're Mesmer and you go in for like your spike would be burning speed as you go in, you'd spike at the end. That spike's going to be a lot more potent than if you weren't running a Dagger Dagger Elementalist, because the Mesmer has no way of easily stacking might.
Yeah. I gotcha. And the Mesmers also have the ability to share their boons, but that's probably not a utility skill that they're going to use very often.
Yep. It's like a nice gimmick to the class, but yeah, I don't think it's commonly run in GVGs. I think they take a Veil, maybe Blink. It's Veil, Blink, and I can't remember the third one. I think it might be Decoy.
Null Field usually.
Null Field some takes. Yeah. We don't run Null Field in ours. So.
Gotcha. Let's see.
So.
Go ahead.
How to play the class in the melee train, or would you like me to do that, or?
If you want, sure.
Okay. So, Dagger Dagger in the melee train, you're getting your stability mainly from the Guardians in your group. So that's a really nice. You don't have to worry about that. Your Armor of Earth can sit off cooldown. You've got Ride the Lightning. So let's say we've got a typical fight, and I'm with the commander over here. So I'm moving in, engaging you. So stability gets popped about here from the Guardians, so you don't have to worry about getting CC'd from here on in. So I get to about here, I'd open in air attunement. This is when you pop your shocking aura. So all 5 guys on your melee train have now got shocking aura. They go in for their leaps. If your commander does leap in and the melee train leaps in, you connect and ride the lightning. If they don't leap in, then obviously you don't connect it, you just keep walking like normal. When they hit, you can't tank the damage like your melee can, so you do a single dodge. You've got stability up, you can move through. When the dodge lands, Evasive Arcana will kick in, you get a blind off, so anyone focusing you is going to get blinded on you. And you're now just slightly behind where their melee train is, so you're not in the main direct damage from their commander. So right here, you use a updraft if they haven't got stability. If they have, like again, you just like you've clicked on their commander as you move in. If he has got stability, then you don't bother with the updraft. It's not going to catch anyone. It's not really worth blowing the cooldown. This point you can use lightning touch, the number 2 on air. Gives you weakness, so if you can get that off on the melee train, because you're sort of on their back here, if you can get off on their back before the guys at the right at the back have had a chance to do any damage, if it's like a fumble on their first hits, they're going to be doing 100 damage instead of 2000 damage. So it's a very nice way of blocking some of the melee damage without really standing in too much yourself. At the same time, obviously the people in your group are going to be really proccing the shocking aura if they haven't got stability, so they're going to be stunned on the front line, and the back line that isn't going to get stunned, it's got the more weakness on them, they're going to be doing less damage as they come in. So the fights generally, my group would generally keep pushing, so I'm just in front of the curve here. So at this point here, people have just taken damage from the first bomb, you'd swap into water attunement. Dodge once again, so that's your second dodge. So you're now back inside where your commander is, your group's here on top of me, you've just given them a nice little heal by tuning to water, and you're going to think, have I got conditions on me? If I have, and the whole group has got them, you pop Cleansing Wave number 5, and that's going to heal your whole group, heal everyone up, get rid of the conditions, and you can do better off. Some guild groups are also very quick to react, so after they push in and then very quickly do a U-turn, so they might still be on you at this point. If that's the case, that's when you proc your Frost Aura. So you've had your Frost Aura on the leap on the engage. This is when your second Frost Aura comes in from your Dagger Dagger, and so you still get the same effect, but obviously if it's a guild group, it's going to be more precise damage coming on you. Most like Pug Zergers won't be doing this, but the Frost Aura is going to connect, the chill's going to really start stacking up again. I would reserve Frozen Burst. I just keep in water, and I'd pop a kind of cold instead, so you just get a nice little heal as you move away. So commander would generally move to about here, and there'd be a waterfield cooldowne dropped. This is when you'd use your Frozen Burst, so if you've got any Harasser warriors still on your train, or anyone still trying to hit you, you get the chill off on them, and you get the blast finisher on the water, since the recent change to it. At this point here, you've got a choice. If you feel confident and like you could push with the melee again, and your cantrips are off cooldown from the first push and you're actually allowed to do that, then you can obviously go with it, swap back into air if you've got it, or swap into fire. Or you can sort of decide to peel off. So if you peel off, I would go with Earth Attunement, now Earth Attunement is very, very, very strong. If you could you swap back into Staff very quickly?
Sure, 1 second.
If I break combat with you. And as they have fixed this, this is still an undocumented thing with Ring of Earth, I think. There you go.
Okay, I'm back to staff.
Okay, so if you start spamming like your Earth number 1 at me, let's say. So you just keep spamming it at me. So this is a generally hitting. If I pop number 2 right as it comes, I just missed it. I'll pop it again in a few seconds.
Blocked 1.
Did it block 1 yet?
It's obstructed.
There we go. It used to reflect some of the, it's obstructed now, so they changed it. Although it doesn't say it on the skill, it obstructs projectiles. So if you're getting really big, heavy focus from range at this point, you can use Ring of Earth, block a couple of projectiles like that, and negate a bit of damage as it comes in. So it's a very useful skill that most people don't know about. It's got an extra use which isn't documented at all on the tooltips or even on the wiki, I don't believe. So it's a very nice trick to learn if you're playing Dagger Dagger.
Yeah, it's definitely very useful. It's not really well known though.
Your timing doesn't have to be too precise. If from what I remember, you've got provided you get it within the 3/4 of a second window, you're good and it will block it. I think it extends for a very slight amount after.
Yeah, it does. So it lasts for about 2 seconds worth.
Okay.
And it's kind of nice. When projectiles enter that, they just disappear. There's no obstruction. There's no mist. They're just gone.
They just vanish. Okay, so it's like swelling winds on the focus.
Yeah. Okay,
that's a very cool thing to know. So let's say I'm back over here. Commander's about to push, and like let's say you're a thief or you're another Dagger Dagger Elementalist, or like whatever you are. Let's say I want to focus you. You could be a Necro as well. So you've blown your Ride the Lightning on the way in, and you're currently in Earth Attunement. So you need a way of getting to them. So you've got 2 choices here. You can either do a blink, and I can blink right on top of you, lightning flash in. That's going to get me in there, but then it's going to really screw with me if I ever need to pull out. It's sort of a waste of a cantrip in my opinion. Personally, I would try and connect a magnetic leap, magnetic grasp, magnetic leap combo. So I immobilize you when I move in if I can get the connection off, and then I've got a very easy way of getting to you very quickly. So it's going to pull me out of the Zerg if I get hit. A trick to learn with that is if I do that on a Thief and they stealth, it's still going to connect, and I've got like a good 2-second window before I can pull over to them. So even if they connect and pull to them,
that is
so
nice.
If it does connect and they still stealth, the pull will connect to where they are in stealth. It doesn't move to where they stealthed. It's where they currently are.
Gotcha.
So let's say I do that and I connect with you and I pull in. So I've just flown over your melee train, left ours behind. I would have had stability because we're just going in for a push again, so I'm on you now with stability. Let's say you're a necromancer or whatever, and you have no stability on you. The big follow-up here is earthquake, so you know go down. That's going to get you and the guys around you. So typically ranged are close enough that you're going to catch 2, maybe 3 of them with the earthquake. They're not generally sparsely enough populated that the earthquake's going to only hit 1. So you're going to get the knockdown on this. So you know you've got 2 seconds of free casting basically on this guy. So you have to try and work out what you can pop to focus him. My personal preference is I would leave Churning Earth out of it. I think the channel is too long for what it does. In this instance, I'd swap it into Fire Attunement. So you're using your 4th attunement now. I connect Drake's Breath, so you've proc burning on you, and then I go for a Fire Grab. So I've just got 3 damage off on you, and if you've just seen, that's gone for 50% of your health. So Fire Grab scales its damage if they're burning. So you pop the Drake's Breath, you get 1 tick off, so they burn straight away, and then you go for the Fire Grab. At this point, like, if you've got a good harasser group from the enemy, they're going to be on you. If not, they're going to be coming out of stun right now, and you might have a bit of they're going to focus you because you're obviously the one doing the most damage to them at this point, so their focus switches to you. So you need now a way out, because if you get too much damage, you're going to be overwhelmed. So your melee trains are clashing over somewhere towards the middle. So how do you get back to them? So you're on fire, you've got burning speed, which you'd move in. It does a nice little damage spike at the end, so you've done damage to their melee, you've moved back to yours, and you've also set yourself perfectly up for a dodge, swap attunement, and get a evasive arcana proc. The other solution is, if you haven't already used it, lightning flash in, and you're back inside your melee train, very safe, but you've wasted a cantrip on it. So you could use both together to gain a very large distance if you've pulled away too far, or you could only use one, or you might not even need any if you've got like if you're not being focused at all when they come out, or your commander's moving towards you, you can just run over to him. So once you've done that, then you just follow the rotations again. Your cantrips are basically used as if they focus you out. So if your guardian's sloppy on stability or lay down, that's when your Armor of Earth comes in. Use it for protection uptime as well. So it's very good at mitigating damage, but that being said, if you're moving in for a push and you have stability, there's no point popping Armor of Earth. It's not going to do anything. The stability duration is going to get wasted, because when you pull off for a regroup, you're not going to be getting CC typically. So you have to sort of really watch when you use it. It is your stun break, so you can use it as one.
Sounds good.
Mistform you use if you're, like, let's say I get really low, like 3 to 5k health, so I'm fairly low. The same as if I'm a staff LE. So I would be like misforming, like I'd still be damaging at this point, and I would misform about now, swap into water, dodge, get the water proc, and my health has gone flying up. So misform you sort of reserve for that use. Use it if you get a immobilized caught as well. If you get caught and immobilized and you get big damage on you, burning speed will work. It's been changed to an evade, so it works the very same way as burning retreat did on the staff elementalist. So if you get immobilized and you use it, the same effect occurs, but misform is a really good counter to it. So if you go with that, it works.
Excellent.
Lightning flash is obviously used to create distance, reduce distance, whatever. I've got the wrong heal and I've got the wrong elite. For elites, I personally run Fiery Greatsword. There's sort of a debate about this. Tornado's not needed. Tornado I wouldn't even consider. If you're a human, you've got, I think it's Avatar of Melandru, the one that gives you stability as you use it. So that's got a unique use. Is if you go for a stomp on your Dagger Dagger and you pop that, you get the stability. I believe it gives you a health increase as well, and that doesn't interfere with your channel of the stomp. If I remember correctly. So I play Asura. I'm not an expert in these things, but if you go for that on your elite, it gives you another quote unquote free stomp. So if someone goes down, you can get a nice free stomp on them. Fiery Greatsword is used for like high spike damage, I guess, and also used on gates. You don't really burn it in fights, and if you're talking small scale Dagger Dagger or you're talking Harasser, some use Glyph of Elementals to get the Air Elemental out for the stuns. Water Elemental has also got the highest AoE heal in the game as a base heal, but it's sort of an unreliable proc and you might not be in the area at the time, and it's got to stay alive long enough to get it out.
Yeah,
so
not exactly the sturdiest thing.
So elite sort of personal preference. Heal skill.
Hang on a second.
Okay.
Sorry. Mystical.
Continue. Okay. Heal skill, Signet of Restoration is what I would take. Some would argue otherwise. Signet of Restoration I think is really strong, especially for your main source of damage. So as you're going through this, if you're like, let's say you're on a Guardian, you're going to be spamming Staff 1 as you move through fights. If you're a Elementalist, you're going to be spamming out your Fireballs if you're on Staff. So the main source of damage on Dagger Dagger as you move through is Air Attunement skill 1. So it's going to hit for like 1k, it's going to cleave and hit 3 guys, like 1k in this build here, it hits for like 2, maybe 3k in 1v1. And each time you swing it, you get a nice healing proc from your Signet. So it's a very good way of healing yourself up as you go. Don't be afraid to pop your Signet though if you get too low. Don't think of it like a Warrior Signet. Think of it like an Elementalist Signet. If you get too low, pop your Signet, get the heal off. So just roll with it, really. Some use Ether Renewal, some use Glyph. It's really personal preference, but I prefer the Signet over the others for that like constant proc you get out of it. If I've not misunderstood as well, Cone of Cold, I believe procs, each pulse of it procs with the Signet. So you get 4 pulses out, which is 4 procs of the Signet straight away. So Cone of Cold gives you quite a nice burst heal if you're running with a Signet on yourself. Unless I've misunderstood its use. Or they've changed it.
Yeah, let me go try it out in just a second. I gotta get my health back down.
Let me damage you a bit then.
Okay.
There you go.
Yeah,
you're getting 2 numbers?
Time. Yeah. It's proc like 4 times.
Yeah. Yeah.
So let me turn
get
the
an extra.
It's getting real dark in the apartment.
It's gone 12 here, so.
Yeah, must be getting real late for you.
I'm on BST, so 20 minutes past 12, midnight here.
Oh, jeez. Yeah, I remember living back over there. It was nice.
The other tricks to know are updraft. So if, like, let's say you're on Harasser and you're focusing me, updraft, like we said before, they don't have stability. Updraft's a very good way of getting them away from you. Very nice little trick for knocking people off the edge as well. So for hills fights, if you're fighting outside of hills, knock them off the edge. It's easier, quicker than a stomp, and it works on people who are down. So unlike Gust on the Staff, that doesn't work if people are downed. It doesn't get it doesn't collide with them, but this will. So you can get knockbacks on them, much like the Hammer 4 on Guardian, the Banish. I guess that's about it for like Dagger Dagger play. Like there's plenty of guides specifically designed around Dagger Dagger. I don't claim to know it all, but from my experience, if you run that, you're going to be pretty strong on the melee train. You may not be the best you can get, but you're going to be surviving pretty well. Yeah, it's a very good thing to have in a melee train. Like, don't just discard them thinking, oh, they're useless, they're squishier, why would you run it? The amount of heals they bring to the table and the amount of like CC from the shocking aura they bring is unparalleled currently in World v World. Like, the only thing that mirrors it is a Staff Elementalist, but they often can't catch everyone with one field, whereas as these, if you spread it out to 5 people, you often can. So
okay, sounds good. Well, as much as I would love to try and dig into Scepter, I just have to ask one question. Is Scepter Elementalist useful in World vs. World Zerg fights?
Yeah, it's viable, if that's what you mean. It's a preference thing. Scepter's a bit more tanky than Dagger Dagger, so Scepter Dagger is what we'd be running. It's a bit more tankier, it's a bit more defensive in play, so you wouldn't be on Dagger Dagger can be very, very aggressive. You have to keep up the pressure all the time. Scepter lends itself very well to more defensive play. It's sort of a matter of preference. Either one is viable on your front line. I'm not familiar with a Zerg build for it, but I know there is one. So
good to know.
You just basically have to. It's a very combo heavy build. You sort of have to use Dragon's Tooth and Firefields effectively to stack might up. It's also got a lot of blasts that which are mainly used if you're roaming to stack might, but if you use them in Zergs you can get a nice burst heal out of waterfields out of them. You haven't got a personal waterfield, but if a Staff Ellie drops one you can get the nice heal on your friendlies for a regroup.
Sounds good.
I think it lends itself more to that middle ground between melee and harasser, so where you can sort of bounce between both, much like a Dagger Elementalist can. You can be in the melee train and you can move away, much like a warrior does when they're harassing with shield. They can sort of bounce between the two. It lends itself very well to that if you're running Scepter Dagger.
Sounds good. Well, I have to thank you so much for all the wisdom you've just given me and anybody else that's going to watch this stream. And I'll be putting this video up on YouTube here shortly, but thank you so much, little Lootbag. I really do appreciate your help. If somebody wants to contact you, what would be the best way for anybody to do that?
If you whisper me in game, I'll type my main account name here. If anyone wants to contact me, I'm online most times, or you can drop me a mail if I'm not online. So my EU name is this, that right there, tag it Lootbag, Lootbag, all one word. So if you whisper me on that, the other name of contact is Champion Siege Razor, 2 words. If you type that in, it will find me. So if people want to get hold of me, that's how you do it.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate everything that you've done, and really look forward to seeing your future work. Best of luck to you.
Same to you. So I hope people got a lot out of the guide. So.
No, I certainly did, at the very least. But thank you so much. You
No
have
problem.
a good night, and hopefully we'll see you again in the future.
Yep. Have fun.
Yeah, you too. See you in the mist.